Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. In the hunt to play new cards from the Final Fantasy set, I found this really interesting build of Red-White Energy in the 5/0 deck dump. So Red-White Energy is a deck that we kind of all know about at this point. It's using Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride to just go really wide. We have Ajani, which is really good value for the body it's on, and then does some pretty cool stuff when we can flip it as long as we have a red permanent. We've got a bunch of really good red permanents in the form of Broadside Bombardiers and Goblin Bombardment. We have Amped Raptor, which can then find us more of our little 1-drops, as well as finding other stuff if we've got more energy hanging around. We even get Voice of Victory in the shell, which is lovely with the Goblin Bombardment and pretty reasonable with the Broadside Bombardiers. Just make sure that all of our stuff resolves. We've even got a little Esper Sentinel to kind of tax our opponent a little bit. And we get to play the best removal in Swords to Plowshares, alongside a little Galvanic Discharge, just like a 5th removal spell. New cards, that's what we want to talk about. So what are these new cards? Well, we have the first one, which is Joshua Phoenix's Dominant. 1 red-white for a 3/4, so pretty good rate on the body. When it enters, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. So it's a nice sort of like looting effect, but on an aggressive body. And for 5 mana, you can exile it and return it back as the flip side. The flip side is a 4/4 Phoenix, so it deals 2 damage to each opponent, and then it deals 2 damage to each opponent again, and then return any number of target creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then exile this and flip it back. So kind of going to be winning the game a lot of the time if this flips and gets to go through its thing, but it's an aggressively costed body that's going to do some looting, and it provides a red permanent for the purposes of Ajani. Next up, we have another 1 white-red card. This is Lightning Army of 1. First strike, trample, lifelink. It's a 3/2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or opponent that player controls, it deals double damage instead. So it can double our broadside flings and our bombardiers flings. That seems okay. I think these were just cute things that the person was trying out, but they got a 5/0, so we're going to give it a whirl, because why not put the new cards on display? Sideboard-wise, what do we have? We got some Deafening Silence for the combo matchups, Meltdown for artifact decks, a couple of Magus of the Moons, a nice little handful of Pyroblasts, some Wear Tears, and then 4 Grafdigger's Cages are thing of choice here as our graveyard hate, which is an interesting one. But the idea here is that you can fling excess copies with Bombardiers, and we also have the Joshua's Phoenix to cycle them as well. Alright, that's about it. Oh, I should probably mention the Arena of Glory that will sometimes come up and allow us to have like a hasty 3/4 and things like that. And we can save our legendary creatures with our Karakas as well. Alright, remember to like and subscribe, and let's just get jamming some Red-White Energy. If you're going to MagicCon Las Vegas this year, from the 20th of June to the 22nd of June, you can catch my sponsor 3-for-1 Trading there. They'll be buying up collections as well as selling some well-priced singles to help you get all that sweet legacy goodness that you need for your deck. This hand is pretty low impact at the end of the day. I think it's just about keepable. It's just not filling me with the most excitement. We have 2 choices. We can either try and tax our opponent and get some more cards going, or we can try and ramp up the Ocelot Pride. I think I'm going to begin with the Esper Sentinel, and then next turn we play Ocelot Pride and Surveil Land, or we can Wasteland them. I think we could do a little bit more in the way of threats here. So we've got like half a ponder in this Surveil Land, and we've got ourselves a land that also does some action. Alright, out comes the Esper Sentinel, and then we will pass. Alright, they didn't fancy doing anything to our little Sentinel. Amped Raptor, is that better than Ocelot Pride? I'm not actually sure it is. We want to play it around days, so we can at least get something good out of it. Alright, let's go for the Ocelot Pride. Then we can crack in for 1, and then we have a Surveil Land or an emergency source to Plowshares. If our opponent goes Entomb into Reanimate, then we could be in trouble. A basic Swamp. What are you going to do with that Swamp? We are getting an Entomb, so we get to draw a card here. And then we get to eat an Atraxa next turn, I suspect. Right, we have a Plow, so we can Plow in response to the trigger, so they have less cards to try and fight over. Alright, there is the Atraxa. Just having a little bit of banter with our opponent. Seems like a lovely human being. Even if they are playing the bad guy deck. Okay, they might just be... They might not be blue-black. They might be... Okay, so we're getting a card off the Esper Sentinel. Plateau. So this is going to come in. I think our opponent is on mono-black. Or possibly like splashing for Witherbloom. So we're going to immediately get rid of this once and for all. So I don't think we have to worry about our mana base here. So we can just get a nice little plow off. And we can keep our plateaus around. So then they flip over and we can get some good information. Yes, okay, so they are on the mono-black variety. Quite a nice little selection of things here. They can unmask themselves and animate dead their Atraxa again. So we've got the Atraxa, the animate dead, the Bloodstained Mire, and a Shallow Grave, and the Unmask. So no Thoughtseize or Grizzlebrand. They're unmasking, targeting us. They probably take the Plow here. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. Not sure how useful our Ocelot Pride is going to be here. Galvanic Discharge. So Wasteland's probably not going to be a part of this game. I'm going to deploy this Plateau first. Am I just going to Galvanic Discharge and make sure that whatever we find here we can hit? Honestly, I think that's fine. So we're going to pay 0 and just stock up on energy so that we can get a nice Amped Raptor, and we can definitely cast whatever we draw. Whatever we've hit with the Raptor. So we have 5 energy here. Guide of Souls. We only needed 1, I guess. We get to attack with our very, very fair creatures. Yes, I would like to make my... Is it the Ocelot Pride here? Or do we want to start building up the Amped Raptor, because that might be able to tangle with an Atraxa at some point. Alright, we just build up the Ocelot Pride and get the life now. Might give us another turn. So we've got 4 damage coming in here. We gain some life, we make a token, we get another energy. If we play a creature next turn, we'll have enough energy to put some more counters on a guy. Unfortunately, it has to go on an attacking creature. We can't just attack and start stacking up elsewhere. Alright, we've got an Entomb here. Are we going to draw a free card? We are. Our opponent clearly doesn't care about what we're up to. And that makes sense because their deck is pretty darn good at ignoring what we're doing. There is a Grizzlebrand. Are they going to Shallow Grave this? So they didn't upkeep because they didn't want to draw the Grizzlebrand. So they can Shallow Grave here. Presumably find like some Lotus Petals and Dark Rituals to get this Atraxa in play as well. They need to be a little bit careful with the amount of life they're paying here. Because if they don't find another follow-up, then we could maybe cobble together enough damage to kill them. So this is going to let us pitch 2 cards next turn, if we get another turn. So they come in for 7, that's going to put us to what, 16? I would like to see a little bit more of my opponent's deck to see if they have any green sources. I kind of want them, if they're going to win, I would like them to put this Atraxa on the stack so we can see another 10 cards. If we see any green sources, then we know that we have to be prepared for the Witherbloom Apprentice combo. Otherwise, we can just bin off the Galvanic Blast entirely. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if we draw Arena of Glory and our opponent does nothing this turn, then we can win. We're going to 4, so they need to put something in now. You found yourself a nice little Lotus Petal. They do have 26 cards in hand. Okay, 3 Lotus Petals. A Dark Ritual. We're going to see like Unmask into Animate Dead. We're going to see Thoughtseize themselves get back an Atraxa. That line is a little bit sketchy, I think. Unless they can keep going after that and put more stuff in. Because if we remove the Atraxa and give them 7 life... Oh, is this going to be a Borborygmus? What is this? Summon Primal Odin. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage, that player loses the game. And then it does something afterwards in case that wasn't enough. Alright, I appreciate them playing the cool thing. Alright, another Dark Ritual. Cabal Therapy. Good luck, I think. Oh, they're targeting themselves. This is their hand. Jumbo Cactor. Oh, wowzers, trousers. No green mana. What do they put in the graveyard? The Atraxa. The Jumbo Cactor is pretty good with the Shadow Grave. If you're unfamiliar with this one, it's like a 1/7 that becomes a massive creature, basically. It becomes 1,000 power on attacks. So if you Shadow Grave this in, you can just kill your opponent in one swing. Right. I'm getting back an Atraxa. Still not showing us any green mana. Oh no, there's a Bayou there. I take it back. So we are looking at Witherbloom Apprentice combo out of the sideboard. How do we beat what our opponent's putting down? I guess the answer is we don't, most likely. Does this fly? Or is it just a guy? It doesn't even fly. Alright, we're going to dismiss all this. They've just got loads of stuff. We have very little agency in this game. Unmask. Targeting us. Okay, goodbye Joshua. Apparently even knows which Final Fantasy game that's from. I have no idea. I'm not really a Final Fantasy fan. Played a couple of the games. I thought they were fine. Cabal Therapy. Making use of their Grizzlebrand that dies at end of turn anyway. Just puts it into the graveyard. They've chosen to flash it back, pitching Abandoned Hope, naming Abandoned Hope here. So what is our solution to what our opponent's doing here? Broadside Bombardiers is lethal. We just throw this for 4 and they die. That's pretty good. They're going to end step. They can't exile the Grizzlebrand because it's no longer in play. They have to bin off a bunch of cards. Do we just draw the broadside and have a nice time? Right, they're discarding a bunch of stuff. And they've got to choose the order because they have Shadow Grave in their deck, which cares about the order of cards. Broadside? Not a broadside. Play this. 7 is a lot of life here. Or 6. They go up to 6. They go up to 10. We can deal them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, I think we try and flip the Ajani. I don't think we put counters on this. They probably just don't block. Yes, they don't block here. Then what? I think we keep these cards in hand. In case we draw. Oh no, we've already gotten through the Cycler guy. We don't have another Cycler effect like that. Alright. So we can block the summon with the Cat Warrior. They're giving us a card here. Unless they want to crack that Lotus Petal. They do want to crack the Lotus Petal, sure. Fearful of Lightning Bolt. Shadow Grave. So it gets not lethal damage, but this is a lot of lifelink. This is 13 lifelink. How much more can we take here? What does this do? And whenever this creature does combat damage, some stuff happens. And then the last thing is draw 2 cards, each player loses 2 life. But we're dead if that happens anyway. But we can flip our warrior token here. So we can block with the cat. Then we flip our Ajani. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. 6 if we draw a broadside. Then we attack for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then throw something. So we can win this game. As unlikely as that may seem. We don't get to block here. Yeah, I think we are just about able to win this game if we draw Broadside Bombardiers and everything goes right for us. They do have this blocker we need to get through. Alright. We draw an Ocelot Pride. Sure, I take Ocelot Pride. Doesn't matter that much. Oh, we need to get through this Attractor as well, actually, don't we? I don't know, we have a second Joshua in the deck, right? So we do have another ability to loot for some stuff. We can't... Maybe we can have like a really sweet Amped Raptor into something. Cabal Therapy. Okay, they want to put this creature in the graveyard so they can then blow something up. So they're going to use the destroy target creature ability by reanimating it somehow. So we're probably losing the Ajani, which kind of takes away one of our lines that we were playing towards. Like a Swords to Plowshares here isn't half bad, to be honest. I suspect we just die. But there is a chance we get to play a little bit more Magic. Broadside Bombardiers. So we play this. We get energy. We attack with everything, because we're dead next turn. We sacrifice whatever attracts or blocks. If we double block here... I don't know. So where are we putting these counters? That's kind of an important one. Kind of just want to put it on the most inconsequential thing that isn't really going to be dealing... Just put on a 1/1 cat. A Shallow Grave. That gets back a Grizzlebrand. That's a little spooky. That guy certainly blocks. So when they had one lifelink thing, they could block that, and then we could throw for a little bit of damage. But yeah, they're just going to block something else here and kill us on the backswing. Alright, let's go and put some Graveyard Hate in our deck. We played a lot more turns than I was expecting to. Alright, Grafdigger's Cages in. And that's probably all we want from that. How much do we need to respect the Witherbloom Apprentice combo? We've got 4 swords. Is that enough? Maybe. Goblin Bombardment, they don't really have stuff we can pick off that easily with it, so it's not the most exciting. These expensive things, maybe they're too expensive in a matchup like this. Need to be lower to the ground. Do I want Wear Tear? Probably not. And then we're just going to run like this. How useful is Voice of Victory? It beats down, it gives us tokens to fling. Maybe we have the bombardment back in for Voice of Victory, so we can throw a bunch of stuff. We can attack into lifelink creatures and sacrifice them. That seems like a plan. Also, Goblin Bombardment can sometimes give us enough stuff to ping down a Witherbloom Apprentice. Like this plays a little bit, but I think we probably need some Graveyard Hate. Alright, this one looks a lot better. Arena of Glory is not our best friend here. And we're going to get rid of one of these arenas. Right, step 1, let's not lose to the graveyard. Step 2, we play Ocelot Pride with a tap land, and then we can play the Voice. I played against a really cool version of this Red-White Energy deck a few weeks ago, I think, that had there's a guy that tutors for deserts, and there's like a desert that lets you make a 4/4 copy of something in your graveyard for just paying its mana cost or whatever. And that seems really good. I would like to try that out at some point. Ocelot Pride, tap land, go. No green mana displayed right now, so we don't have to worry about the Witherbloom. They're targeting us with a Cabal Therapy. What are they going to name here? Guide of Souls, we would play that first. Ajani's a pretty good name. So is Broadside Bombardiers. So the chances of them hitting here are probably reasonable. They might name something like a Plow, if they're like planning on doing a Witherbloom Apprentice combo. They name Guide of Souls. I don't think that's the right name, because we probably play that before the Ocelot Pride. Bloodstained Mire. So I guess we just play an Ajani here. And then we have a Surveil land. So we get the Surveil land, and then we can untap Broadside Bombardiers, attack for a bunch, sacrifice the cat, ping our opponent, and then also do Ajani Planeswalker things. That seems pretty good. There is the Bayou. We could die this turn though. Just need a Dark Ritual, Chain of Smog, and a Withering Apprentice. Or Lotus Petal also does it, instead of the Dark Ritual. Unmasked, targeting us. So they're probably going to take this Bombardiers. There it goes. Right, let's surveil our way into another one, shall we? Not that one, we've already got one of those. Ocelot Pride. There's no way we can play both of these. Well, there is, but we can't attack with both, is the thing. I was thinking, is there a way that we can attack with Voice of Victory and get 3 damage in now, but there isn't. So I guess that means we just attack for regular amounts of damage. Play the Pride and the Voice. Because we'd have to use our Elegant Parlor for red mana to get the Arena of Glory functioning. And then we can just make like a hasty Voice of Victory. But it's not lethal damage, so it's not worth doing. We do get the City's Blessing, so we get many, many cats. The problem is our opponent is about to deal infinite damage to us, I suspect. We're just checking their boxes with all the hand disruption. So they just need to have Witherbloom, Apprentice, and Chain of Smog. They have the lands. There's the Apprentice. Do you have it now? They don't. They were playing a little slower. I didn't think they quite had it. But we have a lot of damage here. Grafdigger's Cage, not the most useful. Alright, I believe this is a full send. Get to mobilize here. They can gobble something up here. But it's on them to do the maths. I think we have 15 damage. They can go to 1 here, right? But I guess in order to do that, they would have to block a 2-power creature, which flips our Ajani, and they automatically die to it. Alright, we got there. I like how he sideboarded. Don't want his discharge in. It's tempting. Just for that one little plan they have that can be a little scary for us. I don't really want 2 bombardments, but having the red permanents is kind of a big deal. 2 Ajanis is fine because the second one flips the first. Right, we'll get rid of 1 bombardment and just have this Galvanic Discharge. So we have Guide of Souls, and then we get immediately killed by whatever they reanimate. That doesn't sound great. They might have Wear Down to blow up our Grafdigger's Cage. But I think we do mulligan this one. This one's no good. No Grafdigger's Cage. We keep in these 4 cards. So we keep Karakas. That can bounce things multiple times. Keep this, and we keep 2 plows. Or do we keep 1 plow and a red source. It's not good. These two definitely go. Oh, sorry, we get to keep 5, don't we? Alright, sorry, I thought we were on 4 for some reason. Yeah, this is an okay 4 for the situation we're in. Are we dead on turn 1? Like, there's no point in Mela getting into Grafdigger's Cage if they kill on turn 1 anyway. They're going to Cabal Therapy us. They're probably going to name Grafdigger's Cage since they've seen that already, and they know that's our premium piece of Graveyard Hate. We mulligan to 5, presumably looking for something. They named Fairy Macabre. Okay, that means they're going this turn, right? Otherwise you name the card you've seen. Right, so you know about this Karakas. I will deploy the Karakas and put this Esper Sentinel in. We get Jumbo Cactured here. Underground Mortuary. Our opponents used a lot of time on their clock. I suspect they can win the game in 6 minutes. Ooh, we get a turn, do we? I like having turns. Right, we have Surveil Land and 2 Plows, and we get to do 2 of those 3 things. Plow might not be good enough. We've got an end of turn in Tomb or something here. Are you going to pay for this Esper Sentinel tax? No. A third Swords to Plowshares. That Cabal Therapy is going to really ruin our day here. I think our opponent wants to get the Jumbo Cactuar. Shadow Grave it in. That's the most style points you can get. But I think it's probably correct, as always, just go get a Traxxer. That way, when we plow it, they still get all the cards and have a lovely time. Or a Grizzlebrand and draw a bunch. There is a Grizzlebrand. They're going to Cabal Therapy us. I think they might name Swords to Plowshares. The old 1 mana, you discard 3 cards. Not my favourite. Shadow Grey, so I'm going to get back this Grizzlebrand. Going to bounce it back to their hand. So they now have to make a decision. Are they drawing 7 more cards? They are. Before they saw the first 7, they had to decide whether or not they're drawing the second 7. This gives us Broadside Bombardiers as a win condition. They'll target themselves with the Unmask here. They'll Dark Ritual in. They're going to put in an Archon of Cruelty. It's pretty good. They got to 7, so it's very hard for us to get over the finish line with something now. It's non-legendary, so the Karakas is no good. We've got a 1-of Swords to Plowshares to draw to. Reanimating an Esper Sentinel. Sure. This hedges against us having a black splash for Edicts, as well as just maybe getting some more cards. Let's go and get our Elegant Parlor. Not sure what beyond the Swords to Plowshares works here. And the odds of us finding the Swords to Plowshares are quite low. Not a Plateau. That's not the one. Opponent has to go to clean up. They've drawn nearly 30 cards this game. Alright. What have we got? Grafdigger's Cage. A little bit late for that one. And we're not strictly speaking dead, but I think it's good enough. Alright, on to round 2. For the best Eternal experience this summer, check out Eternal Mania in Hasselt, Belgium from August 8th to 10th. Aside from hosting the European Legacy Masters, they have a whole host of other tournaments from team trios to old school and pre-modern. I will be there playing Legacy and hanging out as a special guest. This will also be the first event that I'll be giving out my own special Marit Lage tokens, so why not come down to enjoy an awesome weekend ran by one of the best TOs in Europe. This is a perfectly reasonable fair hand. I can keep this one. We have a choice about whether we want to make a 2-drop on turn 2 or a 1-drop on turn 1. Now we don't have to make that decision. Beautiful. Let's jam down on Esper Sentinel. We don't really care if they interact with this. It's kind of whatever as a card. It's probably the weakest card in our deck. Over to you, opponent. Are they going to Entomb? No, it's just a blue land. Ancient Tomb into Torpor Orb, and they're paying. So this is going to be the Dreadnought deck. We do have an answer for a Dreadnought. Ajani, not really a big lover of this. Very rude opponent. You can make a 1-2 that doesn't do anything. I'm just going to play a Guide of Souls with the intention of Swords to Plowsharesing. Like, we can have a 1-2 Guide of Souls, or we can have a 1-2 Ajani. They're both the same card with the Torpor Orb in play. Except maybe Guide of Souls does some other stuff. Like, if we get some other, like, different cat stuff going on, then maybe we can do that. They really don't have anything. I guess we'll continue to beat them down with very poor creatures. I would like to hold up this Plow still. And I'd like to play this Broadside Bombardier around a daze when the time comes. Alright, I think we attack here. This could be like a hull breacher, which we can do about this. Alright, Ajani. Let's get a 2-mana 1/2. This Torpor Orb is absolutely breaking our back. Wow, they're Force of Will in that. Pitching a Stifle. That seems wrong when you have a Torpor Orb down. This must mean the hand does nothing, right? Because any creature they have immediately dominates the board. So surely they just have like interaction. They just need to not die until they can find it. There's going to be a... Ooh, I thought it was going to be a stock up then. So they're going to pay for this Esper Sentinel. There is a Dreadnought. We probably play around days here. Can I plow your Dreadnought? They have another Force of Will. They're going to pay because they haven't got anything else to do. Okay. Let's go and fetch a mountain here. One of each basic, not that I think that really matters very much. So the Broadside Bombardiers comes in for 2 this turn. If they attack us, we come in for 2, 3, 4 next turn, and then for another 3. That's 7. So we're 1 damage shy. If our opponent attacks and we draw a 2-drop, they die. A Galvanic Discharge. Ooh, okay. They've cracked themselves down to dying range now. I guess they brainstormed and knew it was on top. But I'm not sure about that. Sure, so we can take 12 here. We don't care about that. We have lethal on the crackback, right? Unless I've made a mistake. Ocelot Pride. Let's play you out. We can't make this hasty because there's no way we can pay colourless mana for this. Go to attacks. They got Dress Down. Talon Gates of Madara. So they're going to phase out our Broadside Bombardiers. How much damage can we soak up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are exactly dead. Yeah, that was a very good top deck from our opponent there off of a naked deck. Like, they let themselves... I think they made a mistake cracking their fetch, because if they attacked us, we could attack them to 1 and not kill them. But they cracked the fetch, so they had to find something off the top, and they luckily did find the thing off the top. Alright, wear tears, please. Pyroblast, probably not the worst thing in this matchup either. Meltdown can kill some of their things. Their mana base did not look the friendliest, so maybe we have these things. Do we need to keep these things? I don't think we need this lightning. Galvanic Discharge, probably not killing many things in their deck anyway. Still a lot of stuff we need to remove. The Voice of Victory looks excellent here. Our normal stuff is whatever. We need the plows. Maybe we can trim on bombardments. Maybe we do have to trim these if we're replacing with 3-drops. It still leaves us needing 4 cards if we want to fit all this in. Amped Raptor is something that I don't particularly like, just generally speaking anyway. It's definitely better here than in other places, but is this really where I want to be when our opponent's got Torpor Orbs and Dress Downs? No, let's just get rid of that. Ease off of the enters the battlefield abilities. Just have some relatively good stuff. We can nickel and dime them a bit until we win the game, I think. Okay, this hand seems fine. So we'll probably go Surveil Land on 1, then we drop the Voice, then we drop a Broadside. If we need to emergency Pyroblast or something really weird, we can do that as well. Right, let's go and get ourselves that Elegant Parlor. A Wasteland. I don't think we want that. Esper Sentinel while holding up Pyroblast or Voice of Victory. I think the Voice of Victory around a Pyroblast looks very good here. So we can do that next turn. We're just going to play slightly behind curve. Like Pyroblast can answer Dress Down, which is going to be one of their ways of making the Dreadnought. Nothing from our opponent. Okay. Do I play out this Wasteland? I think we get the Voice in here. Feels like our opponent's going to go Dress Down end of turn, the way they're playing. Yeah, feels like they want to Dress Down plus pay line, but they don't get to do that if Voice of Victory is in play. And they can't Dress Down in response and keep it in their turn. Are you going to pay the tax here? They are. Uro is also something that's probably in our opponent's deck, since they're showing us that they're a blue-green Dreadnought deck. They are dismembering our Esper Sentinel. Be my guest. Okay, so this is just one-sided. Opponents can't cast spells during my turn, but I can still do stuff in theirs. It's not like Defense Grid. So our Pyroblast just works on our turn. So if we need to destroy a permanent that's blue that they play, like a Tammy or something, they can't brainstorm and save themselves. We're playing out here. A Dress Down. I could hit this on the stack to stop them drawing a card. Or I could let them play the Dreadnought and then blow this up. And try and get the 2 for 1 to get the Dreadnought. How do I feel we are best approaching this? I think we just let them get the dress down in here. Then they'll play a Dreadnought and then we'll respond. Dismembering my Voice of Victory. Okay. I will destroy target permanent if it's blue, and I'll destroy this dress down. So their Dreadnought comes in, and it sacrifices it to its own ability, and we manage to get a nice little pickup there. Maybe they have another Dreadnought in hand. Do I care about their Ancient Tombs here? Like, they're not tapping them anyway, really, are they? Planes here. Broadside Bombardiers, put our opponent to 2. There's no point wastelanding an Ancient Tomb, because they can only tap 1 anyway. So wastelanding 1 doesn't really change anything. Alright, they conceded, and we get to go to game number 3. Some quite interesting back and forth in this matchup. Let's submit deck and go again. So the Magus of the Moon doesn't actually stop them entirely. They have some basics. But what it does do is mean that they have to like Torpor Orb Dreadnought rather than anything else. We have an answer for Dreadnought, we have a threat, we have a Pyroblast. This is fine. I would like more land. I'm sure our deck will be our friend. Even if we don't get land, we have 4 1-drops here. So we do get to play Magic, an island. We'll go and get ourselves a Plateau. And I will deploy a Guide of Souls. A Brainstorm from our opponent, sure. So we could hold up the Pyroblast in case they go Ancient Tomb and then deploy their guy. But we have, because they can go Dress Down and Dreadnought in 1 turn if they have 3 mana. But we have an answer that we can use after the fact for the Dreadnought. Like, yes, it does gain in 12 life and that is annoying. But I think that's fine. Another Brainstorm for our opponent. So now we're in decision mode, aren't we? Are we just deploying another Guide of Souls? Or is it time to start going wide with Ocelot Pride? I think we just play the Guide of Souls here. Wow, 1 mana Hymn to Turak, I'll take it. Just get stuck in. Another Brainstorm. I'm not looking at many new cards here, because they brainstormed last turn and haven't shuffled since. Not a land. Alright, let's attack with the Guide of Souls. I think I'm okay to play this Ocelot Pride out. Like I said, we can answer the Dreadnought after the fact with the Swords to Plowshares. So we go to the end step, we get a trigger here. If they dress down now, that's not great for their ability to play anything on their turn. Oh, they just bounce on our guy. That is a-okay with me. You whittle away your cards. Like, we're scared of like 1 to 2 things our opponent's deck can do, right? It's like Uro and Dreadnought things. They might have... Alright, they just scoop it up, they've had enough. I don't know why they're scooping it up here. If they get 1 more mana, they get to put Dreadnought in. I think that was a very premature concession, but our opponent's just not having it, and that's fair enough. On to round 3. Whilst I may not play Pauper, I know a lot of you lovely people out there do, so I thought I'd let you know about a great charity Pauper tournament happening in upstate New York on the 21st of June. The tournament is in support of the Trevor Project and Trans Lifeline, so sign up to help a worthy cause and have fun doing it. It's a troubling time for our trans comrades out there, so show them that you've got their back. Click the link in the description of this video for more details. Another 1-drop hand. Oh, we get to play Magic. I will keep this. I'm not ecstatic about it. But I like the fact that we have 3 1-drops we can play. Esper Sentinel can also draw us out of it and we're on the play. So if our opponent wants to play anything on turn 1, we get a card. Unless it's just lowest petal and pay. Right, we're going to have to get a Plateau so we can cast the spells on either side of our colours. And let's deploy a 1 mana 1/1. Now if we put counters on this with like Guide of Souls trigger, it does mean they have to pay more mana. Because it's based on the power of the creature. Which sometimes comes up. It's better in things like the Hammer Time decks where you just stick a big, massive hammer on it and they just have to pay 10, so they're never paying 10, so all this first spells every turn is going to draw you a card. Alright. The thing that I said might happen has happened. Okay, if this is Oops or Spells, we can't win this game. I'll play a 1-drop. I'll attack for 1. Cabal Therapy. Are you going to crack your Lotus Petal? No. We get to draw a card. What are they going to name here? Swords to Plowshares. No Swords to Plowshares. We do have a removal spell that can kill your Undercity Reformer if you're going to play that out there. That was their stratagem. Again, I guess we're just jamming the guy. Doing very small attacks. And then our opponent can just play their stuff. Do they have the extra mana now? They do. Alright, is there anything interesting in their build? Obviously not, because this deck isn't very interesting, but we get to see if they're running enough green cards to support Force of Vigor or not. Once Upon a Time's Elvish Spirit guys, but not the land. Alright, we can concede this one. Okay, I would like some Grafdigger's Cages, please. I think Deafening Silence is useful here. The Wear Tears are useful if they're going for the Charbelcher line. Makes of the Moon can make things a little bit awkward, but not enough. So I don't think that's where I need to be there. Pyroblast doesn't do it. Meltdown, I don't think is good enough. Alright, these spells cost too much. So these get out. I don't think we need Bombardment. Don't think we want this. Probably shave on a couple of plows. How useful is the Voice of Victory? It beats down, right? That's something. I think we maybe... How much do we respect their just playing out creatures plan? Can we beat that with things like Broadside? I think we probably can beat their playing out creatures plan just with our stuff. Like Ajani makes it really awkward to attack. And then Broadside Bombardiers can clean up a lot of board states. Okay, Deafening Silence is a card. Let's give this a whirl. Once Upon a Time in response. Boggart Trawler. Yep, Once Upon a Time that can find lands in your deck with no lands is pretty cool. Boggart Bog. There we go. Untapped. Cabal Ritual. They're going to play out their guy here. Rotting Regisaur. Sure. So what are we doing here? I think we go Plains, Guide of Souls, Esper Sentinel. Puts us to 21. And then 22 is an important breakpoint when our opponent has a 7/6. And then when we attack with our Voice of Victory, we get a bunch of tokens. If our opponent's all in on this Rotting Regisaur, like I said, we should be able to beat a fair creature plan a decent amount of the time. We do have a couple of plows still in our deck, I think. Don't think we boarded them all out. Yeah, we got 2 in our deck still. Right, you can turn that guy sideways. That's fine. It doesn't have trample. We can always chump block it later. We're pretty good at making just superfluous bodies. Get this Voice of Victory in. Elegant Parlor. I don't think we need another one of those, do we? Attack for 2. Take 7 next turn, but then we're going to be gaining a bunch from our Voice of Victory. So we can probably take 2 more hits. Or we might be able to take 3 more hits from this Regisaur before we have to start trumping it. Sure, I'll take 7. A Broadside Bombardiers. We go to attacks. I'll go to Sentinel, so they have to pay 3. Otherwise you get to draw a card. So we've gone up to 11 here. We're dealing a bunch of damage. We'll fling a warrior token. Our opponent's dead next turn. I don't think the Rotting Regisaur plan is very good against us. I think they're better off just sending their combo, which I imagine is what they're going to do for game 3. They are dead on board, so we can launch the Voice of Victory. Alright, let's see the writing on the wall and scoop it up. Let's go back to sideboard. I think they're even less likely to be on their plan now. We still have 2 plows, and that's fine. Maybe if they leave a guy, if they play a guy intending to crack it on the following turn, we can deal with it. This hand does nothing against our opponent's deck and we'll lose the game. If we get a turn, this hand is okay. We've got some lands. I guess we get rid of one of our 3 drops. So, do we get a turn? That's always a fun question to ask, isn't it? Cabal Ritual. This is 4 mana. This is the lethal amount. Cool. What a wonderful experience. Alright, let's concede. So something I've been thinking about recently is the card Hermit Druid is banned in Legacy because it's a 2 mana 1/1 that lets you mill your whole deck by paying 1 and tapping it. That card has been banned in Legacy for a long time because it's deemed too powerful to have a card that lets you mill your whole deck over like that. But that card, it has to come into play, survive a turn cycle, and then pop, and it's a 1/1. Whereas these just automatically win you the game. So I think these probably need to go the way of the Hermit Druid. Alright, on to round 4. What do we have here? Again, we have a 1-lander, but it's pretty stacked. I think I will keep this. Our opponent plays a lot of stuff. They are a content creator. Eco Baronin. They make some good stuff. I think they've done a few videos with Bosch and Roll as well. So what are we looking at from our opponent here? I think given our mana situation, this is going to be a get an Esper Sentinel into play. We could have just got a white source, you know. We didn't have to get this Plateau. Undercity Sewers. I think our opponent is playing the best deck, most likely. Getting some blue-black Reanimator on. They did do really well with a blue-black Dreadnought deck recently that was pretty sweet. So maybe they're on that rather than being the big bad guy. Orcish Bowmasters. Yep. Okay, so our opponent might be on Dimir Tempo, which is probably better for us than Reanimator. Can we draw a land, though? We can draw a land. That's pretty big news. Would I like to play a Voice of Victory into our opponent's days? We have so many of them, and it's so good on this board. We're just going to keep doing that. Alright, we're just in with it. So this can block the Bowmaster quite easily. Fatal Push obviously cleans it up quite handily. But we've got more where that came from. A Wasteland. That's not what I wanted to see. They're going to crack it off immediately. They are. And into... Okay, so they are the bad guys. Just they have the Orcish Bowmaster in their flex slot. Okay. Goodbye, our only creature. I will discard a Voice of Victory since we don't have the mana to cast it. Do we get to source Plowshares as Archon of Cruelty? If we draw a land, we have 2 cracks at it, as well as the first one being around the days. Okay, do we get to plow this? We do. Okay, so we still get to play Magic the Gathering. Cool. If they have another Wasteland, we can enter the dirt, but we have a 1/1 first striker, which is actually pretty good on this board. Not a Wasteland. Happy about that. They could put a Kaito in if they're doing like a hybrid build. Apparently someone who tries lots of different stuff out, so it wouldn't surprise if they had some unusual stuff in their build. 3 mana. Is this going to be a Murktide? Feels like a Murktide, the amount of time they're spending to resolve the spell. Oh, it's an Abhorrent Oculus. Okay. Same but different. Well, here goes the Swords of Plowshares. Okay. Imagine if we drew some lands. The things we could do. We're putting up a pretty good fight considering our opponents put like an Abhorrent Oculus and an Archon of Cruelty into play this game. And Wastelanded us back down to 1 land. Part of the thing about this red-white energy deck is it is very low to the ground. Thoughtseize, be my guest. They probably take the 1 mana, 1/1 first striker here. They took the Amped Raptor, I guess, because that's the quickest way we can get back on board. That makes sense. It is a first strike body. And it can deal with this Manifest token. We're playing another card. They're reanimating our Voice of Victory. Sure. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. So we're not quite dead. We're not quite dead. Certainly doesn't feel like being alive either. Ajani provides 2 bodies. This has lifelink, so that offsets some of the damage. There is a non-zero chance that we can maybe get through this. Ponder here. Take 3, 4, 5, 6 damage this turn. We only take 5, so we go to 3. Next time we play Ajani, they have fewer creatures to attack with because we clean one up with the Pride. Another Brainstorm from our opponents. Alright, they're attacking with fewer creatures here. So we get to block one of these. So we take 4 this turn. Entomb. Sure. Is the last card in your hand reanimate as well? Yeah, I'm done with that. Okay. Pretty miserable. Let's put in these Grafdigger's cages. I want those. Pyroblasts are not amazing. They're fine. Magus of the Moon is one of the things where sometimes it's good, but sometimes it just does nothing. I think we're just stripping out some of these things. Something like this. So that'll do. We got white removal spells, which help. We've got Grafdigger's Cage, which can stop our opponent's worst excesses. And we're just shaving these new cards every time, which is a bit of a shame. But there's not really like the later game matchups where these become better cards that we're playing into. Everything is just really low to the ground. You know, we've got turn 1 combo decks, turn 2 combo decks. It's just a bit much. Alright, we have the Grafdigger's Cage, which is something we need to play this game. So here we are. Now our opponent might just be full tempo at this point, and this does nothing. Or they might have like a tempo we have, but still have the reanimated stuff, and they can just select around it with their cantrips and maybe get like a nice Brazen Borrower exchange at some point. A Thoughtseize. Alright, are you going to take my cat or my human bard? I'm going to take the bard. Given the situation, we are going to Wasteland here. Let's hope this maybe strips our opponent of being able to do some plays for a little bit. They can't daze our Ocelot Pride. They would have to force it. And then we can start accruing a little bit of value, because when this gets in, it brings a friend with it. But they could just go land fatal push and we have nothing. But they can't. Oh wow, the Wasteland was good. Beautiful. I'll play this Surveil land out. Well, it's not Surveil land yet, it's going to be soon though. Let's get the Ocelot Pride in. Then we can deploy the Sentinel. And then we've got a nice little bit of pressure going here. And if our opponent wants to do anything, it's probably going to cost them giving up a card to us. Alright, this game is brought to you by the letter Wasteland. Let's crack this in the end step. Our opponent's going to have to get a clean up. They can probably just discard a giant monster. Another Esper Sentinel. We have better hits than that. Discard an Entomb. Okay, let's attack with the team. We don't have the cards to let us cycle anything out of our hand anymore. So we're just going to play the land and then drop the Pride. They're both going to make tokens this turn because we've gained life. And our board is going to be substantial. We now have the City's Blessing, so we're popping off. There's maybe a situation where our opponent's supposed to take the Ocelot Pride so that we try and play out the Voice of Victory and not wasteland them. But I think we would probably just end up dazing that anyway. Fatal Push. Targeting one of our Ocelot Prides. Be my guest. Once you have the City's Blessing, you can't lose it either. Oh dear, opponent. I'm very sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. You're playing Blue-Black Reanimate. I'm not sorry at all. Goodbye. Alright, that's enough for our opponent. I don't blame them. I guess we just go in again and hope that we can do something really good with our Wastelands again. This hand plays alright into the fair side of our opponent's deck, but that's not what we're scared of. Okay, I can keep this one. Probably the bombardment that goes here. Maybe we can just cheese again with the Wasteland. Thoughtseize, shot. They can take our cage. If they take our cage, then we're almost certainly going to lose this game. If they're on like a fair plan, then maybe not. They took the cage. That is not great for us. We have to get a non-basic with this Bloodstained Mire. I think we just suck it up and do it. I will get a Plateau and I will deploy a Guide of Souls because this doesn't die to a Bowmasters if that's what they're on. But they could just Entomb, Reanimate, and Archon of Cruelty, and then we're very far behind. Now, maybe we get to Amped Raptor into a Source to Plowshares and pick it up. That is something. There's the Entomb. Oh, please ban Entomb, Wizards. It's time. It was banned for 6 years in the past. And that was when the monsters weren't as good. Alright, what are we going to see here? Is it the Reanimate? It is the Reanimate. If you show me enough blue stuff, then... Okay, there's no Force of Will, so we do have to continue playing this game because we can draw Source to Plowshares. Tamiyo, Brainstorm, Reanimate, Wasteland. Sure. We need to draw a Source to Plowshares right now and hope they don't have any interaction in hand. Does this make any difference to us? No. Okay, we are on the Amped Raptor into Source to Plowshares plan. We can counter this and we don't get the thing. Okay, that's pretty bad news for us. Do I want to keep playing this game? Not really. I'll take one more draw step, but this game is over. There's Wasteland, we lose our red source. Got a Ponder over there. Shuffle all off the Ponder. Alright, let's at least strip them back a little bit. We've got one more turn to find... we can't find anything, right? We should have played this so we could draw into the Amped Raptor. We just got nothing. Alright, yeah. Bit on the awkward side there. Let's go to the final round. We're currently a 1-3, but we've been splitting the games in all of them, so we've been competitive the entire time, but just not been able to cross the finish line. Let's go to match 5. This is not a hand I'm happy to keep. This is better. It does have its own challenges, but we can play on basics here. And I think I would like to do that. An island, okay. So Wasteland, not necessarily the most useful thing here. Let's go and get planes and chuck an Esper Sentinel down. A Stone Forge Mystic, okay. A Cauldron Complete, that is a big creature, isn't it? Let's get our basic mountain and hope our Amped Raptor is good to us. Sure, I'll cast this Esper Sentinel. It's not great, so we do have Source to Plowshares, and there are situations where we can race. We are not having a great time into it. Okay, they're not attacking with the Cauldron. That's really interesting. Alright, we have a source to Plowshares. That works, doesn't it? Am I just deploying an Amped Raptor? I think so. We're going to leave out the planes because we can't be wasted off of it. Voice of Victory. Cast. How do you like them apples, opponent? You put in your Cauldron. We get our Voice of Victory, then we plow your guy. Everything is right with the world. No germs for you. And we also get a crack in here as well. That went very well. That was a very good exchange. Prismatic Ending. Are we targeting an Esper Sentinel here? We only get to draw one bonus card. Alright, they've just had enough. Okay. Yeah. We came out smashing. Wear Tear is destroy, not exile, which is quite a significant difference here. So I don't think we want the Wear Tears. Now they might have some other equipment that we do care about. But I think this is actually a matchup where like these bigger creatures might be good. They're playing on basics, so I think we're going to just get a Pyroblast in over a Wasteland here. Do I want to take out a second one? I kind of do. I'll get a second Pyroblast in and call it a day there, I think. Okay, we've got some aggro stuff going on. I'll keep this. We'd like to find a mountain, but it is what it is. I think maybe 2 Arena of Glories is a little bit pushing it. But obviously, this isn't my deck, and I haven't played it as much as the people who've been brewing it, so they know better than I do. We just want to keep deploying things until our opponent dies. Alright, let's get our Guide of Souls in, and then we can play the Ocelot Pride next. The Ocelot Pride is a self-perpetuating threat where it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, so if I could have either one of these cards, I would always take the Ocelot Pride. So we offer up the Guide of Souls first. If they don't answer it, then when we play the Ocelot Pride, it starts going wider anyway. So it's just almost always better to sequence it that way around. But as with everything in Legacy, there are so many cards in the format that sometimes you do sequence it the other way around. But just generally speaking, you want the Guide of Souls down first. What have you got for us, opponent? Is it a Stoneforge Mystic? Okay. Cauldron complete. Arid Mesa. Do we jam this Amped Raptor? Or is it more important to get the Voice of Victory down? Or do you just want to start doing Ocelot Pride things? I quite like Ocelot Pride here, if I'm being perfectly honest. Because this gains us life, and we can keep going wider and wider and wider with it. And then it means that our Ponder over there from our opponent. I don't think that's worth Pyroblasting. Let's go and get ourselves a Surveil land here. It is a mountain, so it will turn on the Arena of Glory. Another Ocelot Pride. That's pretty good. I will deploy Ocelot Pride. Deploy the Arena of Glory. We can attack with an Ocelot Pride here. Or we can attack with a cat token. I think I'm going to attack with a cat token, weirdly. This grows so and flies, so it doesn't care about the thing. Because if they want to spend removal on the cat token, that's fine by me. So we get to keep our Ocelot Prides. A dress down, you say? I will Pyroblast this. And we're going to force a will for our trouble. Sure. So this trigger is already on the stack, though, so we still get to do this, right? We just don't get to make cats at the end of turn. So we could be looking at some kind of big sweepy-uppy spell, like a Supreme Verdict here. They might want to get their Cauldron in before they Supreme Verdict, because Cauldron is indestructible, so they can get their threat in, and then they can wipe our board. You're going to take out my Guide of Souls. Rude, but understandable. They don't have the ability to put in anything now. An Ocelot Pride. I'm going to... Do I want a Hasty Raptor? I like the Hasty Raptor, actually. Another Amped Raptor. Okay. Go to attacks. Is this enough? Are we holding back the Ocelot Pride here? I think so. Let's just come in for 5. I'm not going to play out into a Wrath here. Feels like our opponent's warming up for that. They need a second white source. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can quite easily get the City's Blessing if we just play out a guy. So they can go and get Cauldron here. I think we're just pushing damage. Our opponent said they've seen enough. We got the GGs. That was actually the one game where it would have been good to have this Joshua's Phoenix doing its thing. But we didn't really get to that situation. This lets us chuck away stuff So we can just keep the pressure on, and it's also a reasonable threat, and we can put it in with the Arena of Glory and do some stuff. So that's the end of the league. We went 2-3. We lost to the Blue-Black Reanimator deck, which is almost certainly getting a banning in a week's time. And we lost to the Oops All Spells deck, which is also almost certainly getting a banning in a week's time. So I don't think we can feel too sad about our losses there. And we were competitive in these games. You know, we lost 2 rounds 1-2. So we weren't a million miles away. We lost to the Reanimate deck, which, you know, can kind of go either way. And didn't really work out for us. So let's talk about the list. So I think that the Red-White Energy deck is pretty good. I think it's probably the best like out-and-out aggro deck that we have in the format. There's some like mid-rangey decks and stuff, but this is just like a proper aggro deck, get you dead. And I think it is the best thing at doing that. I'm not really a fan of the Esper Sentinel as a card. This is not a thing that impresses me playing a 1-mana 1/1. Sure, you can draw some extra cards, but the games are quite condensed in Legacy right now, so you don't get to leverage these cards that often. And the matchups where it is good, you know, like the ones we played in the last one where our opponent's trying to trade resources, they're few and far between. Like, control is like 13% of the meta, which is very low, whereas 57% of the meta is combo. So I'm not really sure this is where I want to be. This list obviously was something that the creator was just having some fun with, and they wanted to try some new cards. So we tried the new cards, and we boarded them out a lot. Now, this would have been good in the last one. I think this card is definitely win more. I'm not really a lover of this one. The first strike on is interesting because you get the ability and then your regular damage hits. But we already have a bunch of first strikers that are going to hit at the same time, so it's not always doing the most. And this guy, I think, is more interesting than the Lightning because this one allows you to chuck some cards away and get something better going on, and it can turn into something with evasion. Flying is a useful ability, for sure. Now, the issue with flipping it over is you're not attacking with it the turn you flip it because you have to tap it. It's a sorcery speed. So you're kind of like taking a turn off of dealing 3 damage, then deal 4 damage the next turn. But lifelink is obviously quite important. And the 2 damage it deals will gain you life as well. So that can certainly flip some matchups. But I think what I would rather play if I was playing this Red-White Energy deck is I want to try the Desert card. There's it's like a 2-mana 2/2 that tutors for a desert. And there's a desert card that it's like Lapotep's Ruins or something like that. And it lets you put creature cards from your graveyard into play, or like a copy of them into play, but it's like a 4/4 copy, and you have to pay like XX, where X is the mana cost. So you can pay 2 mana, I think it's XX. So you pay 2 mana and get like a 4/4 Ocelot Pride or something. And that seems much better to me. I also don't like the second Arena of Glory. We treaded on our own toes a little bit here. I'd rather have it come into play untapped land all the time on this one. And we had a little bit of trouble with our mana, but I think the deck is good. This isn't my favourite iteration of it, and I think you can definitely play better builds. But we tried the new fancy cards, and we didn't really do anything with them. So I'm sure people who clicked on the thumbnail expecting to see these in action are probably a little bit disappointed. But that's Magic the Gathering. When everyone's playing combo decks, there's no point trying to cast these 3-drops. Alright, we are done for today, so please remember to like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, it helps the channel out, and a lot of my viewers aren't subscribed, so help me push those numbers. It means a lot to me. Alright, goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.